Yeah, given that there isn't a sort of third-party certifier system out there, it's kind of you turn it in, and then after a certain amount of time, they just come back, say, we accept it or we don't, or here's I don't know what the feedback mechanism loop is on that.
Yeah, UNAP has an internal review process for GMP 2.0. So we're anticipating that it could take a month to several months for them to review the approximately 150 submissions that they've received. It's a mountain of work. Like, a number of our reports were dozens, if not many dozens of pages, including tons of data, and then accompanied by technical documentation as well. And the challenge, I think, for UNAP right now is that everyone who's reporting is using, there's principles-based guidance for how to do OGMP reporting. But when you turn that guidance into specific workflow and math, you're going to end up basically with 150 different approaches. And so it's going to take them some time to evaluate all those different reports that they've received, and get their feedback. But there were some data points that came out of last year's reporting. I think of the I can't remember exactly the number of assets from the companies reporting at level 5 through maybe 100 assets reporting at level 5. 70% of them were unable to reconcile because the reconciliation is just effectively reconcile, because that process is very, very challenging. So it's we'll see this year if the bar stays the same, or if there's even more stringent kind of expectations from the team. But it does beg the question of what does this look like when it has become reasonable assurance, because it appears as though the EU is going to be expecting EY or KPMG or others to independently provide an audit of these measurement informed inventories, and it's really hard to say what that will look like at this point, or even if the expertise exists to perform those audits.
So a couple points of clarification. So level 5, versus let's say level 4 and reconcile. So what does that mean?
There's 5 levels. A lot of operators are at level 3. You can think of level 3 as equivalent to kind of your historical EPA subpart W submission. So this is a fairly detailed bottom-up inventory resolved to the source category level that uses generic assumptions to calculate that inventory. Moving to level 4 requires that you basically supplement that source level bottom-up inventory with source level measurements or empirical data or representative estimates that are applicable to the company. So you may go out and develop your own emission factor-free fugitives. You may perform your own flare destruction efficiency measurements. You may do stack testing, and so on and so forth. Moving from level 4 to level 5 is where things get really hairy, because in level 5, you're not only reporting a company-specific bottom-up inventory, but you're also performing site-level measurements. And then you're deriving with those site-level measurements and the bottom-up inventory, or what we call a level 5 inventory, which is, it could be just your level 4 inventory that's cross-referenced and validated by your site-level measurements. But in many cases, it's a hybrid inventory that combines the most credible pieces from your different estimation techniques. So it could be that you use a top-down measurement estimate for some source categories and a bottom-up measurement estimate, or bottom-up inventory estimate for other source categories, and then weave those together, complete with justification and evidence for why you've chosen to do it in the way that you have. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that. Operators have to estimate the uncertainty on their inventories in order to provide meaningful comparisons. They have to extrapolate individual measurements to annual estimates to perform comparisons at representative timescales, and so on and so forth. And so what we do is we kind of help turn all that complexity into systematic workflow and consistent math.